Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Storytelling Vlaire. I'm here to give you guys a storytelling review. This week, I'm going to be doing a Spider-Man review, and I'm really excited to do this. It's sad for me to say this, but I've never read a Spider-Man comic book. Now, what makes this sad is Spider-Man had been my favorite superhero since I was a kid, all the way until like high school year. And yeah, think about that. Comic book superhero. Haven't read a single one until recently. It's pretty sad. I used to watch the 90s Spider-Man show. Don't know if you guys remember that. It was hilarious and it did not age well. And then the Spider-Man movies. Recently, I watched Spectacular Spider-Man. It's an amazing show. I'm going to do a review on that soon. So I figured, you know what, let's read an ongoing series. So instead of reading a trade or something a little bit more modern for Spider-Man, I decided to pick up on this issue that came out today as of 06/22/2017. And it is Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, #1. Now, one of my friends was really hyped about this story, so I figured, you know what, let's give it a shot, and I kind of want to pick up the next one, just because I want to see if this is a weekly story that I'll pick up, you know? Now, unfortunately, there's some things about it I didn't care for. We'll get into that in just a second. Just so you know, there's not going to be any spoilers. I'm just going to kind of tell you how I felt about it, so that if you're interested in reading it, then you can go off and read it after you watch this review, or if you never see this review and you go watch it. Waha. So the story starts off by giving us Peter Parker's origin story, and a lot of people are just like, I felt like that. You know, you're just like, oh my goodness, I know Peter Parker's origin story, you know? With great power comes great responsibility. He kills a man, beats up somebody who killed his Uncle Ben, or maybe he doesn't kill a man, but you know the story. I know the story. We don't need to see it again. And this story plays with a funny idea where the Human Torch, he's just like, Spider-Man, I don't need to hear the story again. You know, kind of in the place of the audience. And it's pretty funny because in Spider-Man it's just like, well, it's important to my character. And that's very true. It is important to Spider-Man, so that's why they kind of reinforce it a lot. And I thought it was handled pretty well. The very beginning of the comic actually was my favorite part of this first issue. It was just a conversation between Spider-Man and Johnny Storm, you know, the Human Torch. And it was pretty cool. Things that took me out of it is they made a lot of references to movies and just a lot of things in our world. And it takes me out of it because I'm no longer in their world. I feel like I'm spectating their world. And it kind of just bothers me. Like, they made a shawarma joke from the Avengers movie. They made a joke about all the all the superhero movies that Spider-Man's tired of, like our world. And then, you know, the whole seeing his origin story multiple times. It's just, it felt off, you know, because they're funny. I like the origin story, you know, joke, and I like the superhero movie joke, but, you know, the shawarma thing just kind of pushed it a little too far, and it was in the same bubble as the movie joke. Now the story kind of kicks off and everything, and it's Spider-Man doing his day, and the dialogue just falls flat for me by this point. All of a sudden he's just rescuing this girl and stuff, and another superhero comes in and gets involved, and Spider-Man makes a Prince joke. It's awkward. I know it's supposed to be awkward, but it doesn't fit. And the rest of the story it's forgettable. It's really forgettable. What really damns it for me is the ending. The ending is such a stupid cliffhanger. It's like telling me that Batman has a twice removed sister who's been fighting in Bloodhaven, who just showed up in this issue after like 75 years of Batman. And she's like, here I am, you know? And it's just, you don't buy it because it's like, oh, I bet you know, yeah, scarecrow toxin or something like that. I bet she doesn't really exist. Or, yeah, it's not the full truth. It's just, it doesn't feel earned. And it really left a bitter taste in my mouth. And by the end of the story, I honestly, if I wasn't trying to give Spider-Man a huge chance, I wouldn't pick up the second issue. Because this story, I am not interested in reading it. I feel like I'm reading Spider-Man going to the grocery store and you see all of the Marvel characters who happen to just be there too. And it's kind of weird. You have to read the story to understand what I mean. And I know there's not a lot of Marvel characters that are in it, but that's just what it feels like. It feels like there's a lot of characters in it for the sake of having characters in it, and not because there's a good story there. It's just, oh, how can we make these characters be together? And I just didn't like it. But what was really, really, really cool is Zachary, I don't know. He wrote a second issue in this book, and it's called Spider Fight. It's done by a different artist, and it's good. It's really good. It doesn't feel like the first issue at all. Like, I was really convinced that this was a whole new author altogether. I really thought that. This other story, family's just walking in an alleyway, and they're having some nice little banter. It's nothing too crazy, but it feels organic, unlike the other story. And all of a sudden, they get jumped with somebody. You know, it's kind of a Bruce Wayne thing. And then all of a sudden, Spider-Man jumps in. He's making quips and whatnot. He's a little cocky, but he's got the whole situation under control. And it's funny. The art is so crisp and beautiful, and it looks like the original shows. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. And then what's cool about Peter is, you know, he jumps into fights and stuff like that, and he's making jokes and everything. You know, he's making fun of the bad guy. But then all of a sudden, something happens, you know, it hits the fan, and Spider-Man immediately just wipes off that grin, and he's like, he snaps into action, he's like, guys, get out of the way, get out of here, I got this under control. He becomes a hero in that moment. You know, he jumps in, and of course, as the fight starts and you realize who he's fighting, he still continues to make jokes and stuff, and I really like that about Peter. I gotta say, being a DC fan, there's no real character in the DC universe that reminds me of Spider-Man. I think Dick Grayson, Nightwing, is the closest one, but man, you know, like there's something very unique about Spider-Man, and there's a reason why I liked him when I was growing up. And this story kind of it played with that idea. I can't compare it to the Sam Raimi movie or the Amazing Spider-Man movies, but if you've ever seen the Spectacular Spider-Man TV show, that's what it felt like. It was simplistic, but it was effective. It introduced another Marvel character, I won't spoil who it is, and they fight Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is confused of what's going on. And long story short, the person gets away, and the bad guy's kind of revealed, and it leaves with a better cliffhanger, where it's like, oh, this is, you know, the bad guy now has the information he wants. You know, what's gonna happen next? That's a lot more effective than telling me that Clark Kent had a child twice removed or something, who just happened to show up and say, hi, Dad. Like, come on, guys. So, more or less, the first issue, I didn't care for it. If I wasn't so, like, dedicated to want to read more Spider-Man, I wouldn't pick up the second issue because of... I wouldn't pick up the second issue. I would not pick up the second issue of the first one. The Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man. Just didn't really do anything for me. There's better stories out there that I could be reading. But that second one, Spider Fight, that is really good. I hope there is another issue in the next, when they come out with the second issue. I really hope there's another one. I hope they continue it as long as the Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man is going on. Because it's good. It deserves its own graphic novel altogether. The writer, he mentioned that it serves into the larger plot of the Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man story. And so that's cool. I'm not interested in seeing how that side plays out, but I'm interested in seeing how the whole spider fight plays out. Because that's cool. And to me, that's how Spider-Man is supposed to be written. You know? He's supposed to be fun, quippy, but at the same time serious, and just, that's Spider-Man to me. It reminds me of my childhood, brings me back when I was a kid. Anyway, more or less, if you're not already interested in the story before listening to this video, then I wouldn't pick it up for that first issue. But if you're willing to spend some money for that second issue that's a little bit shorter, that second one really is worth a read. Because it's really good, it captures the idea of Spider-Man, and you know what? Maybe they're going to continue writing that second story, and I hope so, and I'll be waiting for that. But anyway, guys, thank you for sticking around on my video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to try reading some more Spider-Man and probably some more Marvel as well. Maybe leave some comments of any characters you want me to do, and I can get to them. Next week I'm going to do another Spider-Man review. I'm going to keep it a secret until the video actually comes out. I'm pretty excited for the next story. I read it, and it's gotten me in such a Spider-Man mood. I'm just so hyped up on Spider-Man right now. I'm pretty excited for the movie. At the same time, I'm also a little scared. The trailers kind of ruined some things for me. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. And if you did enjoy this, please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. Just tell me to support the channel. If there's anything that you guys want me to make a video for, please leave a comment below. And you know what? I'll do my best to get to it as fast as I can. But anyway, guys, you have a good night, and I'll see you guys soon.